Hi submarine friends, welcome back to watching me build my diesel electric submarine. So in my video yesterday I was showing you guys that I had a problem with my hydraulic system in that when I engaged the propeller motor the engine stalled. So I went through a whole bunch of scenarios of what was wrong. I had some good suggestions in the comments. And actually the suggestions were quite logical, except that everybody missed one detail that I left out. So I have a bird that moved into my shop and is living on my chain hoist trolley. What does that have to do with hydraulics? Well, nothing, but what happened is I had to move the submarine outside far enough that my exhaust is not inside the shop, because I don't want to bother the bird sitting on its eggs. So, and I can't use the chain hoist to lift the submarine, to lower it to the ground, put it on a pipe, then I lift the other end with the crane, and I just swing the crane and it rolls outside, no problem. Except that I had to lower it to the ground and all I had was a jack, so I put a jack under the sub, lifted it up, pulled the blocks out, and started to lower it. Well, the submarine tipped over. And when it tipped over, it hit the side of my door jamb for my shop door and broke a couple of studs and did some damage. Nothing too serious. I mean, I can take care of it, but it still really sucks. No damage to the submarine other than a fitting was bent and broken on my exhaust, which I repaired quite quickly. So, no harm to the submarine. Everything in the submarine is quite secure. The floorboards are not secure, so they tipped over to the side. Batteries stayed in place because they're secured, but all the junk in here all fell to the side and then slid down under the variable ballast tank bladder. So I had to take it all apart, clean it all out after I stood it up with the crane. But what does it have to do with the hydraulics? Well, I think what happened is the engine was laying on its side for a while. Now this is several days ago, but it was laying on its side, and so possibly some oil made it up into the combustion chambers, past the piston. Who knows what the fuel system did, who knows. But anyways, so this morning I came out and I thought, I'm just gonna let it run. You know, I just need to let the engine run for a bit. You know, this fuel system has to circulate because I just put fuel in the tank for the first time. And it's like a, 15-foot fuel line run. So I thought I'm just going to let it run, warm up, and let's see what happens. No problem. It's working. So I don't know what the cause of this was. I think the engine just cut out because it just didn't have any power, because who knows? Maybe there was some air in the system. Maybe it wasn't getting full power from oil in the combustion. I don't know. But anyways, I'm going to fire it up, let you hear it, engage the hydraulics, and I have to do it slowly because it's not in the water, so there's no resistance on the propeller. So when I put it back in neutral, it makes an unhappy sound, and that's because the hydraulics are just slamming because the propeller has no resistance on it. So, and the other thing I should warn you is, on camera it sounds very noisy, but it's not. It's no noisier inside the sub than cruising in your outboard motor or cruising in your boat. It's no more noisy. Like, this engine compartment idea has worked out really well, and the door is not completely sealed. There's a stretch about this much with no seal because they don't have any. So once I get that, it'll be nicely sealed. And even a little crack will let sound come through. The other thing that's going to help is when it's in the water. I think the water is going to dampen it because I'm still getting sound from the engine compartment from outside the sub coming in. So anyways, have a listen. So we turn it on. Oops. So that engages the, I'll show you guys. This is my engine panel. It's upside down. So it's upside down. So that engages, and we have 50 degrees Celsius. That's the temperature of the engine right now. So we'll hit the start button and she'll fire up. You may not be able to hear me talking because of the noise in here, and the camera really makes it worse. So there it is. Starts beautiful, running good. So let's engage the hydraulics. Now again, I have to do it really gently. There we are, we're engaged. Now let's rev it up a little. That is going to be my operating RPM, I'm assuming. I'm pretty sure that's where it's going to run, maybe even a little lower. Probably right about there. But it's got lots more throttle to go. That's actually vibrating the submarine a bit. So right about there, the motor is a happy RPM, no vibrations. We're at 53 degrees. I have to be careful because the keel coolers are not in the water. But it takes quite a while actually for it to come up to 53 already. I've had it running for a good 10 minutes. So that's not bad. Okay, so let's pull her back into neutral. Now it makes an unhappy sound when I go into neutral. Well, that wasn't bad. It's just a matter of feeling that spot. Now let's put it in reverse. Yesterday wouldn't do that. I can probably put it in reverse and forward a little faster than I am. I'm just being careful with it. So that's about running speed right there. I'm pretty happy with that. Now, it's a little noisier than, say, sitting on one of my mini excavators, but I mean, I have no problem at all wearing hearing protection. And the other thing is, I'll probably be standing up looking out the conning tower when I'm cruising on the surface anyways. But this is not bad. Plus, I'm still missing some sealing function in my door. So I'm pretty pleased. I think this is great. It's working perfect. We're up to 59 degrees now. So we're still not at operating temperature. Now I don't have a thermostat in this engine. I want to see where it sits cooling, and then I can decide on a thermostat or not. I mean, I want it to run at the proper temperature, but I don't want to put a thermostat in until I know how the cooling system is working. All right, let's go back into neutral. That's quite quiet in here now. May not seem like it on camera, but it is. Beautiful. I couldn't be happier. We're at 62 degrees now. I can actually rev it up with this controller without putting it in gear. That's full RPM. That's 2200 RPM. Again, I think that's going to be the operating speed right there. And at that speed, it just sips fuel like nothing. And have you seen the diesel fuel prices? Okay, so there we go. Success. I'm going to install my windows now. Ciao.